For those of us that are working on bone density, yoga is a good practice to go to. In this practice, we'll be working on standing poses and some supine poses. You'll find that standing poses best serves you if you're concerned about osteoporosis or osteopenia. As you research the subject, you'll notice that in yoga, it's not highly advised to go into deep forward bends, deep back bends, or twists. So we'll be improvising in those poses. Another recommendation is to stay in the poses longer, to hold the poses with good alignment. One of the things that can really help you with that alignment are props, and I'm using blocks for this practice. We'll begin by standing at the top of the mat. Stand in Tadasana, the mountain pose at the top of the mat with your feet hip distance apart, with your toes engaged. Spread your toes. With your fingers engaged, spread your fingers. So all the way from the toe tips to the pelvis, all the way from the fingertips to the shoulders, you feel a nice tone in the muscles that support your arms and legs. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Breathe in and reach your arms up. Breathe out, bend your knees so it's not a deep forward bend, and take your hands to blocks if you have them, or shin bones if you don't. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, start to straighten your legs just slightly without changing the curve of the spine. Root down to inhale. Reach your arms up again. Take your hands in prayer position. Release your arms to your sides. Keep a nice engagement through the arms and the legs. Inhale, reach up again. Exhale, bend your knees to place your hands to your blocks or the mat, and step your right foot back. Balance yourself in a high lunge. Inhale, take your arms up, look up, reach back if possible. So we're doing a back bend, but not a deep back bend. Exhale, take your hands down to the mat or blocks and step the back foot forward. With knees bent, place your hands to your low back and rise up. Tadasana, mountain pose. Breathe in deep and out long. Breathe in, reach up. Keep your hands nice and wide apart. Exhale with knees bent. Take your hands down, step your left foot back. Balance yourself to a high lunge and a crescent lunge. Reach up and back. Keep your hands wide apart. Take your hands to the blocks. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands to your low back. Hug your elbows in and rise up. Reach up and back again. Exhale with knees bent. Place your hands to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, bend your knees slightly. Lift your sit bones high. Come towards straight legs, but keep a slight bend to the knees for now, so that you keep a nice arch in the low back. Inhale, come to a plank position. In this practice, we'll try to hold the poses a little bit longer to work on muscular strengths to support the skeletal system. Lower yourself to the mat. Come to fingertip top position. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, soften. So keep the elbows bent. See if you can do most of the work through the back muscles. Very little help with the arms. Pulse up again, rise up and down. Now without the arms, with the hands reaching back, hands to the floor. Inhale, lift up, exhale, soften. 2 more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Place your forearms to the mat. Come to a Sphinx position. Pressing the fingertips down. Draw your heart forward. And now draw from the navel back to the spine to lift the pelvis up. Draw your thighs down. Draw your belly down. Reach forward in the Sphinx pose. Lift up from the navel to the pelvis, to the thighs. Rise up. Exhale. Draw deeper into a back bend with full engagement of the arms, isometrically pulling back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Place the hands alongside your ribs. Come up to all fours position. Tuck your toes under. Look forward. Exhale. Lift the back body. Inhale. Look forward and draw your heart forward. Shoulder blades hug in. Exhale. Get fullness through the back body. Inhale. Exhale. With your toenails pressing, reach your right arm forward. Reach your left leg off the mat. Come to this bird dog pose. Create this nice fullness in the breath, fullness to the back body. Release your right hand and left knee down. Reach your left arm forward. Reach your right leg back. Engage fully. Make any modifications you need. The arm is pulling into the midline. The right leg is pulling into the midline. You stay steady. Release your left hand, right knee down. Step your hands a giant step forward to come to downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, bend your knees. Lift your sit bones. Come towards straight legs, but without jamming the knees back. Try to keep a nice elongation in the spine. And as you do, now bend the knees again slightly to take the hands walking back to your feet. Place the hands right above your knees and come to a chair pose. Reach your arms up. Keep the hands nice and wide apart. Nice fullness in the pose. Maybe you can take the pelvis back more. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. In deep. Out long. Take your hands back to the mat. Walk them forward. Bend the knees slightly for downward facing dog again. Keep your shoulders lifted and shoulders hugging in toward the midline. Now with knees bent, walk your feet toward your hands. Take your hands right above the knees again. Reach your arms up again in this chair pose. Take your gaze between your hands. Draw your thighs back a little bit more if possible. Root down to lift up. Release your hands. Tadasana. Stand tall. Keep a nice evenness in the flow of your breath. A nice ease, a softness of the outer body to bring the breath to brightness in the inner body. Step your left foot back. Bend your back knee. Bend your front knee. Inhale for this awkward version of Vrksasana number 1. The back knee is bent. You're reaching your arms up. Reach your gaze up. Reach your hands back. Release and step your back foot forward. Step your right foot back. Bend your back knee. Bend your front knee. Reach your arms up and back. And release your hands, step your back foot forward. Now turn to the long edge of the mat and step wide. Bend your knees. Place your hands right above your knees. Bow forward. If you feel like it's hard to pull the feet in toward each other, step in just slightly. Take your hands to your shin bones. With your forearms pressing your inner knees, keep your spine elongated. This is a forward bend, but we're not dropping deeply in this version of the forward bend. We're actually strengthening the action of the legs. Pull the feet in toward your forearms. Resist with your arms. It's a very strong action that you're doing to pull the feet in toward the midline of your stance as you just draw the pelvis down a little bit more. You keep pulling in. The spine stays elongated as much as possible. before you take your hands to your low back and rise up, turn your right toes out. Bend your right knee. Take your hands right above the right knee. Keeping the spine elongated, just about forward slightly. Keep your back leg strong. And trust in the strength of the back leg as you rise up. Keep your front leg bent and enjoy a nice fullness in Vrksasana number 2. With your gaze extended over your right hand, turn both palms up so you get a nice external rotation of the upper arms. Maybe you can draw your thumbs a little lower than your baby fingers. Try to keep the shoulder blades hugging in even as you turn the palms back. And now come out of the pose to parallel your feet. Once again, customize your stance so that as you bend your knees and draw the pelvis back and take the hands to the shin bones and hug your knees in toward your arms, just draw forward slightly. Enjoy your breath. Resist the strength of the arms with powerful hugging in action of the legs. Take the hands to your low back and rise up. Come to the left side in your stance. Bend your left knee. Take your hands right above the left knee. Draw it down. Even as you take more weight on the left leg, see if you can keep the right leg very actively engaged. Work from that engagement to rise up, reach your arms out. Vrksasana number 2. Trust in the strength of the back leg to let you go deeper in the pose. Turn your palms up for that external rotation of the upper arms. Keeping the shoulder blades engaged and hugging in. Turn your palms back. And inhale to rise up. One last time, adjust your stance so your feet are parallel. Take your hands down to the shin bones. Powerful hugging in action of the inner knees to the arms. Keep this action. Place your hands to your low back and rise up. Step to the front of the mat. Stand in Tadasana. Create an elbow frame behind you, holding onto the elbows or the wrist, whichever feels right for you. Step your left foot back. The idea of what feels right for you is really important in working with good bones. If the posture does not feel like it's serving you, then it's time for modifications and adjustments. And this will keep both legs straight to start with and draw forward without rounding the spine, just to get a little bit more awareness on the back sides of the legs. Now inhale, rise up. Keep your balance as you lift up your back heel and you bend your back knee. Now do that same pose. Draw forward, rise up, root the back heel down. Release your arms and step your back foot forward. Come to Tadasana again, stand tall. Make an elbow frame, whichever arm was on top last time. Put it on the bottom this time. Step your right foot back. Keep the back leg rooted down with both legs straight, like you're scissoring the legs. You're pulling in as you draw forward and down. Not too far. You're keeping the spine elongated. With a nice ease to your breath. Now inhale, rise up and bend your back knee. Lift your back heel. Keeping the front leg straight. Draw down. Inhale, rise up. Park the back heel down. Release your arms. Step forward, Tadasana. Mountain pose. Stand tall. Enjoy your breath. Maintain a nice flow to your breath. As you either step off your mat for a little bit more balance or stay on your mat, whichever works best for you. We'll be balancing on one leg. So first we'll balance on the right leg. So take your weight just side to side to feel how that is for one leg to bear all the weight. Just try shifting your weight side to side. The other leg will still be, the other foot will still be on the mat or floor, but you'll just kind of discover how when one leg is weight bearing, how you have to engage so fully. Shift one more time. Shift all the weight to your right leg. Lift up your left heel. Take your toes just to the inside of the right ankle. Just pause there. If you feel more comfortable being close to a wall, then by all means. Now take your weight to your left leg. Lift your right heel. Take your right foot close to your left inner ankle. So all the weight, except maybe a few toes of the right foot, are trusting the full weight to the left leg. Release. Shift your weight again to the right side. These balance postures are so helpful in gaining that strength that we're looking for in the muscles that support our bones. So as you lift up your left foot, or just keep it where we had it, and take the foot to the inner shin, or possibly the inner thigh. Start to use your arms to help that weight-bearing leg, the right leg, as you create more fullness in your pose. Just kind of notice as you shift weight from one part of the foot to the other. Just kind of notice how it is on this side. And as you're ready, you can release the foot, come to standing on 2 feet, and pause. In Tadasana, this standing pose that you can practice throughout your day. Have you ever noticed, like when you're washing dishes or you're standing in line in the grocery market, maybe you shift your weight to one side or the other, or you're looking on your phone and it's not balanced. So see during your day if you can create that Tadasana-like form, the steadiness, 50% of your weight on one leg, 50% on the other, and see how precise you can become. Now, as we shift from 50% to 100% to the left leg, just start where you're at. Very slowly, just as we did. You can keep some of the right toes on the mat if you wish. Or see about taking your foot off the mat and maybe even traveling all the way to the inner left thigh. It's really a wonderful way to add to your practice, getting those good strong bones engaged through the strength of your muscles. Good strong bones working through that strong engagement of your muscles. And as you move, to keep your balance, just stay with your breath. And release your hands. Release your foot. And can you do that with grace to come to Tadasana again? Breathe in deep and out long. Studies have shown that it's best to focus on your standing poses in your yoga practice if you want to work on the strength of the bones. And in those poses that we just did, they're great examples of standing poses that you should be incorporating into your practice. So often in yoga classes that you'll go to, the first part will be movements such as sun salutes. Second part, standing poses. Third part, seated poses. Last part, supine poses. In this practice, where we're focusing on our bones, we will come to one seated pose, and that's known as the home base of yoga poses. Often, researchers that have studied osteoporosis and osteopenia say that it might be more appropriate to skip the seated poses and go right to supine poses. We'll do one seated pose. And the one seated pose that's often recommended as a home base for all seated poses is Dandasana. Keep the backs of the thighs pressing, your toes engaged. The hands help to press down to get more length to the spine. Keep that engagement, this pulling in action from the toes all the way to the pelvis. Keep a nice elongation of the spine from the sits bones to the crown of your head. Sit tall. From here, come to lie down on your back. Bend your knees. Use the strength of your arms to support the spine. To lie down. With your feet hip distance apart, with your elbows planted, with a lift of the heart through this strong action of the shoulder blades hugging in. Lift your pelvis up just slightly. Draw from the heels toward your heart to engage the muscles in the back sides of the leg. Keep a nice, strong engagement in the legs as you lift the pelvis up. And stay in the pose. And pause as you come to what feels like a very free and easy breath, even as you engage the legs so fully. Press your head back so that you get just a little bit more space between your chin and your chest. Three more full in-breaths and out-breaths. Release your pelvis to the mat. Release your arms. Extend your legs. Close your eyes. In this practice, you did poses as a way to support strengthening your bones. Now you can just allow the muscles that support the movement of the joints, support the movements of your bones, and just give this opportunity to release, to let the legs feel heavy, the arms heavy. And the breath very free and natural. Thank you for joining me in this practice to support good bones. Namaste.